Okay, I have used the concepts of linear and the quadratic functions from sometimes in the video records. In this section, we will examine this function in all details. Before starting this analysis, I will briefly talk about the relationship between mathematical modeling and the real-life problems. We will use this relationship frequently in the lessons, consequently or unconsequently. So, mathematical modeling is the process of using mathematics to solve real-world problem. Real-world problem. This process can be broken down into 3 steps. First step is construction. Construct. This is the first step. We construct a mathematical model that is a mathematical problem that when solved will provide information about the real world problem. Okay, so we construct mathematical model. Second step to solve the mathematical model. So this is the second step. Solve. So by solving mathematical model, we obtain a mathematical solution. So we obtain mathematical solution. And the third step is interpretation. So the mathematical solution is interpreted to the mathematical model in terms of the original real world problem. Okay, so this is the third step. This is interpret. In more complex problem, this cycle have been to be repeated several times to obtain the required information about the real-world problem. In this section, we will show how linear functions and quadratic functions can be used to construct mathematical model of real-world problem. Linear functions in 2 variables have straight lines as their graphs. So the definition ax plus by equals c equation is a linear equation in 2 variables. X and y are our variable. As we mentioned before, x is independent variable, y is dependent variable in general. Okay, so this equation describes a linear equation, and this form is known as a standard form. This is standard form. This is a linear equation, not a function. Linear equation. If you write this equation as the following form, y equals minus a over bx plus c over b form, right hand side describe a function. So this is f of x. So this is a function of the x. Before we mentioned in that following form y equals mx plus b. So here m is minus a over b, is b, small b is c over b. Easily we can talk about the graph of this linear equation. If b is 0, what we have? If b is 0, from here let's talk about. If b is 0, x equals c over a line, okay? So the graph of this equation is x equals c over a line. So this line. This is x equals c over a, and x-intercept is point c over a. If b is different than 0, minus a over b is the slope of the line, and what we can say that minus c over b is the y-intercept. So the graph like the following one. According to the slope, the sign of the slope is the curve can be different. Symbolic line show that, for example, this line y equals minus a over b x plus c over b. So the slope minus a over b means what is the slope of the curve? You choose the two different points on the curve. For example, this 2 point. The coordinate of the first point is x1, y1. The second point is x1, y2. So the slope of the line is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. For any arbitrary 2 point on the line, this ratio, this quotient is constant, so it is called a slope. Generally, we denote by the m. So here m is the slope, okay? So this is the slope. Let's denote, this is denoted by m. And y-intercept is, this point is c over b. Easily you can verify. If you put instead of the x 0, y equals c over b. So you can find the x-intercept by this way. According to the slope of the line, we can interpret the geometry of the line easily. So if slope is positive, the line will be like this one. Okay, so here slope is positive. If slope is negative, the line will be like that one. So here slope is negative. Of course, this line also correct. That line is also correct. That line is also correct. For all lines, the slope is negative. For the first case, positive case, this is positive. That is positive. This is positive, etc. So if the angle between the x-axis to the line is less than pi over 2 radian or 19 degree, less than 19 degree, it is a positive slope. If this angle is bigger than pi over 2, with the x-axis to the line is bigger than pi over 2 like this one, okay, it is a negative slope. If the slope is 0, we have a horizontal line. So if in the general case y equals m times x plus b, if slope is 0, we have y equals b. So y equals b is the line, horizontal line. So this is y equals b. Always y value is b. So this case is slope is 0. for the vertical line, what we have, actually we don't have any slope. Slope is, sometimes we say slope is infinity, okay? But in general, slope not defined. In your viewpoint, slope is not defined. So this is the vertical line. So in this case, slope is not defined. Some calculus book says this is slope is infinity or minus infinity, etc. But here it is not important for you. So slope is not defined in this case. Because if you choose the 2 point on the line here, x is constant, x0 and y1, x0 and y2. Why is x constant? Because this value is x0. So ordinary axis of the any point on the line has is x0. So that is your 2 points. So what is the slope? y2 minus y1 over x0 minus x0. So this is 0. So number over 0 is undefinite because here denominator is 0. So because of this reason, slope is not definite. Okay, let's talk about the equation of the line. So equation of a line. Actually, we talk about the forms of the equation of line. First form is standard form. Standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. Equation form, standard form. Okay. Here both a and b not be have to be 0. Okay, let's write as a remark. Here a and b not both 0. The second form is slope intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. Why this is slope intercept form? Because here m is slope. Slope is m, and y-intercept is b. When x equals 0, you obtain the y value as a b. Second form of the line, point slope form. You have to know all forms because sometimes we need this point slope form, sometimes we need the slope intercept form, etc. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So here m is slope again, which is clear, and x1 comma y1 is a point on the line. Point on the line x1 comma y1. So if you know the slope and you know the some point on the line, you can write easily equation of the line by using this form. Okay, if you know the y-intercept and the slope, you can use this form. This is the standard form. We have 3 forms for the line, but in particular we can talk about the horizontal line and the vertical line. So horizontal line is the following form: y equals b. Here slope is 0, we have already mentioned, and the vertical line is x equals a. Here slope is undefined. As I mentioned before, if we use the slope intercept form, we describe a function. Okay, so f of x equals mx plus b is a linear function. As a definition we can give. Okay, here m and b are real numbers, where m and b belongs to the real numbers, with m is different than 0. If m is 0, f of x equals to b is a constant function. Okay. Again, we have a line. A graph of the f of x equals b is a line. There is no problem y equals b line, horizontal line. But this is not a linear function. It is a constant function.